Okay, good evening, good evening. Back to you. This is the GlaDEAtor, back with the very, very, very interesting story. This is retired Special Agent Abe Collins, retired DEA agent, retired from DEA in 2014. And I worked numerous assignments in Memphis, Tennessee, the Bahamas, Atlanta, Georgia. I pretty much had a pretty much round career, I would say, from one point to the next. All of the locations were very interesting.
So when you started working for the DEA, what was your position, role? Like, how did that work?
Well, after graduating from the academy, I got assigned to the Memphis office, and Memphis is where I'm from. So I really got my blessings on the front end, because in some agent life, in their entire life, they never get to go home from where they are from. I got that from the beginning, but which was a good thing, because I hit the ground running, meaning I already had connections from my days as a Memphis police officer. I worked there as a police officer in Memphis for 9.5 years. And so I knew a lot of the, important people there in Memphis, particularly in the narcotics world. I knew a lot about the going on. Once I got there and got on board at the DEA office in Memphis, I actually was able to teach some of the older agents some of the goings and comings of a place like Memphis. And what happened to me, and although I was an agent when I first got to Memphis, I was assigned to the airport unit, which was Memphis International Airport there in Memphis. And at that time, when you really think about it, you think back around 1991, anytime prior to 2001, which was 9/11. Prior to that time, drugs was flowing through airports all around this country. They really were. And working at airport with guys like Freddie and Calvin and JC, they really taught me something. And what I didn't have, and I didn't realize this, I may have had the ability, but I didn't have the confidence. I gained a lot of confidence from working with these guys. The confidence that they taught me how to stop, what we call stop and talk. And coming through the airport, you got informants who work with you from places like Houston, places like Dallas, Miami. You have people who in the know what I say. These are people who know what's to look for. And a lot of profiling is done at airports. And one of the main profiles that you look for is people with large sums of money when they buy tickets in cash, or they pay for their certain things in cash. They use cash. They got lots of money. And those are people you really pay attention to, because one thing about the drug dealers during that time, which they didn't got a lot smarter, they didn't have credit cards. They didn't book their flights online. They would walk up to the ticket counter and dish out $200-300 for a ticket, or one-way ticket, or mainly one-way ticket. Those were two of the keys. A one-way ticket to the destination and paying by cash. And once some of the informants say, hey, this guy just walked up to the ticket counter to catch this flight that's leaving in an hour, going to Houston or coming or going to Memphis, y'all need to take a look at him. And at that time, people could put dope on their body, They could put it in their luggage. It wasn't like it is nowadays when you hardly can get anything through. Of course, you can get some things through, but money and drugs, you can get that through the airports.
I feel like you saw it in like the movie Blow and stuff like that, where they brought it right through the airports. And you'd have his luggage with 2 layers, the fake clothes, and then they'd have it all underneath. Back then, you can get away with that stuff.
Yeah, you can get away with that stuff, which was... But the big seizures was not necessarily the dope. You're going to seize dope if you're working. But the big seizures were the money seizures. The money seizures. When you see $500,000 in cash going to a dope dealer and you take it out of his hand, you really done made a difference. Because they don't really care about the drugs. But what they do care about is that money. They want that money. Oh, they'll stand to lose some dope. They won't like it. But what kills them and what hurt them when you take that money away from them that they in the business for anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what was the first kind of memorable case or seizure or anything like that you can remember when you started working? What was the first one?
Pertaining to, I can remember this. Pertaining to the airport. And again, signed to the airport at that time. And it turned out that you get a call from one of your informants who work in the ticket line or working the checkpoint. And we responded to that. They call and say, this instance, they call and say, a guy just went through the checkpoint with briefcases, 2 briefcases of cash. So he just went through the checkpoint.
Like the security checkpoint?
The security checkpoint.
And they let him go?
Well, they can't, at that time, they couldn't do anything.
Okay.
At that time, they couldn't stop him.
They didn't have the law, like anything over 10,000?
Well, that's only at a port of entrance.
Oh, okay.
So customs. Yeah, that's only at port of entrance.
Flying locally, it's not against the law.
It's not against the law.
Okay,
so get the call. We immediately rush out there. I know I get there. I know Freddie get there. I know JC or Calvin or somebody get there. We all get there, but I know I was one of the first people to get there. And they identified the guy as a white guy. Can't remember the description other than him being white and he had briefcases. So I remember this. I get to the gate that someone had followed him to him. He was not Little Rock, but it's Northwest Arkansas.
Okay.
Can't think of the name of the place right now. It was from Northwest Arkansas. So he's sitting there. The bad guy's actually at the gate, and I watch him. And I think Freddie was there by then. We watch him. He's just standing around the gate, and all the plane. You see a plane landing, coming from that part of Arkansas, and we watching him. So he's standing with a briefcase and a nice-looking female, older, I would say middle-aged, white female, blonde hair, gets off the plane, and he immediately hugs her, and he grabs her, and she grabs him and hug, and she asked him, you can see, of course we didn't overhear him, so we wondered what's going on here, because we used to, the dope dealers fit a certain description, but this one didn't. And he walked in, they started walking away from the door, started walking down the pathway in the airport, and start going through the airport and going through the exit points, and we still following them. We just blend in with the crowd as the rest of the crowd coming through. And he goes to the parking lot, and we wanted to see what he's gonna do, because he kept carrying the money, carrying these briefcases like they was very important. And you could tell by her body language, she was asking, what's in there? What's in there? And he would eventually go to the parking lot. And once he got to the parking lot, he went to looked like a new Lexus, one of those Lexus coupe. It was like silver or white. And just as soon as he get to the Lexus, he popped the trunk. And that's when we approached him. And once we approached him, the trunk was open and he was showing her another briefcase, which had money in it. And we stopped when we approached him, and this is the thing about guilty people that I learned at the airport. You approach them, and they get the shaky jakies. The meaning, they get real nervous.
Yeah.
They get real nervous. You can tell them. So we knew something was up. Freddie did the talking, told him who he was, identified him. And we saw all the money there. Well, we got to investigate this. This guy got 3 briefcases full of money. I think I still got one picture of that, of all that money that he had. So we saying to ourselves, these don't look like regular drug dealers to us. This was like they was like middle-aged, I would say 50s. They were, she looked like, I would say their appearances just didn't fit the description.
Okay, cool.
But something was out of whack. We knew something was out of whack. So Freddie, who took the lead, put him in our car. We told him we got to take him to the office and investigate. We secured the money in 1 hour's trunk. We put them in the backs in one car. We separated them, put one in one car and one in the other car. We took them down to the DEA office, and then we tried to run information on, do the check, and found out both of them were from Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas.
Was it Fort Smith?
It was Fort Smith. It was Fort Smith.
Okay.
It was Fort Smith. What's the other one there?
Fayetteville.
Yeah, there was one of these. I think it was Fort Smith. Exactly.
Okay.
Fort Smith or Fayetteville. Both one of them started with F. Both of them started with F.
Okay.
That's where they was from. So happened, after we done our checks, the lady was a nurse. She was a nurse. She was a registered nurse. Well, the guy was turned out to be her boyfriend. She was actually married. But after we did our checking, next thing we know that the FBI is looking for these 2 people because some doctor in Fort Smith or Fayetteville, one of them, had been killed and they had found a body. And the nurse was missing and this guy was missing. And they had used the doctor was involved in some kind of Medicare fraud, and the doctor was stealing money, hiding it, but had told the nurse about what she was doing. Instead, the nurse told the boyfriend about all the money that the doctor had, and the boyfriend ended up killing the doctor, and they stole the money. And what happened, he drove to Memphis and bought him a new Lexus and had the rest of the money in those 3 briefcases, which was over like $1 million or so. If it wasn't $1 million, it was 95. It was a lot of money.
Right.
And that was really interesting. Although it wasn't a drug case, but that was one of the most interesting cases.
Yeah. And where were they heading?
They don't know. They was getting out of town.
Okay, yeah.
They had killed the doctor and was heading out of town with the money, and they may have got away with it if it wasn't for I would say his stupidity. By you think about it, he had the money outside in the car.
Yeah.
Why he had to take the money inside? Well, at least one briefcase or 2 briefcases inside the airport, and then go through checkpoint to show her once she got off the plane. Why you think he done that?
Yeah.
I don't have no idea, because
he didn't want to leave it out of the site, maybe, or.
But he did leave. He left some of it in the trunk.
Okay.
He did. He left another briefcase in the trunk, because it was 3 briefcases.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So your first DEA case was a homicide.
first big one. I've had the first big one that I can really remember during my first year there. Now, during my first year there, we had other seizures at the airport, and none of them I can really remember.
What are the common seizures?
Say again?
What are the common seizures like when you first started? What were they like?
It was like maybe coming through maybe 10 kilos, 2 kilos, because people could actually tie them to their body. Yeah. And wasn't nobody patting you down back then. Mm-hmm. You know, you could strap 2 kilos to your body and get on the plane and bring it to Memphis. But at the same time, you didn't pay for cash. Pay for your ticket, cash.
Yeah, get flagged.
Yeah, so you flagged, and someone's gonna pay attention to you.
So what was your your shift like? I guess I would say at the airport. Are you in uniform, or are you in suit, or like are we walking around, or are you in the office waiting to be called out, or are you sitting? Are you on a post, or like how does that work?
Well, the shift went like you report to the airport. Yeah, we had an office there. You report there. You can get there 8, 9. You pretty much was. This kind of narcotics work is you have a lot of freedom. Yeah. You don't always go to the airport, but when you do go to the airport, this is what you do. You go by and kind of consume or make contact with potential informants. Let them know, give them your card and say, look, if you got information on something, call me or call him. A lot of people you kind of develop informants because a lot of your work is based on what somebody else knows. Because most people know who we are, but when you walk up to the ticket counter and talk to a ticket person or walk through their checkout and speak to them, they get to know you. Either they like you or they don't, but you tell them, if you turn over, if you can see something that's not right around here or something criminal, suspicious, let us know. Let's check it out. If you do, we can give you a reward.
How do you? So just to go back a bit, when you're saying like back then, people used to like tape a couple of kilos to their body, and then they'd get flat. The only real way you'd really know to look into them is if they pay cash or do something red flaggy. How do you approach that guy? So the ticket counter calls you guys and say, "Oh yeah, this dude paid in cash and it's kind of suspicious." What do? You just kind of like follow them, and where do you approach them? How does that go? How does that process go when you actually approach them?
Well, here's one key that I forgot to explain. Like a place like Memphis is more of a destination city. It's Houston, Dallas, Miami, Los Angeles, maybe even San Antonio. Those are source cities. Drugs in the U.S. come from the South and move north. Mm-hmm. People from Memphis don't leave Memphis with dope. They leave Memphis with money to go buy dope. Mm-hmm. Even in New York or Chicago is a source city. Mm-hmm. It may come that way because you got to remember the amount of people, particularly in the Hispanic community. A lot of it, what we found is a lot of the black traffickers either had a black source or Hispanic source. They were trying to get the hookup. So the people in Houston will contact their airport officers or DEA guys in Houston. They in turn call us and say, "Hey, here's John Brown. He just got on the flight. We couldn't stop him. The flight had left, or we could have stopped him, but we want y'all to stop him because we got something else going on. And he just got on the flight. Here it is. He's gonna be in seat number. He may be in the middle of the plane, or the back of the plane, or the front of the plane. He got this on, and the description of him. And when he get off, and he's y'all need to check him out." And that'd be some of the common information we get. But
how would that go? The plane lands, do you go on the plane and grab him, or do you wait till he comes off, or how does that work?
If we think he got dope, we want to know where he's going.
So sometimes follow him a little bit, okay.
Yeah, you follow him a little bit. Because I got a very interesting case to tell you when I was working at the airport. Something that taught me something about prosecutions. So here we go again. It was like a Saturday morning, drug dealers learn to move on certain days. A lot of airport work is done through the weekday, but drug dealers learn to do it on the weekend sometimes, or a Sunday or a Saturday, which they suspect is not a lot of police around. Maybe true, maybe not. Certain places, particularly in the big airports, during that time, because you got to remember the time frame. So we get a call, guy flying from El Paso, Texas to Memphis. El Paso, now that's right there on the border, ain't it not? Right on the border. Flying from there. El Paso to Memphis, they paid for a one-way ticket with cash. So I remember the description of him was kind of vague, but they said it was a black guy, and then they said it was a white guy, and you think what? So you sitting there watching at the gate when the plane lands, because you got time. Somebody call you, you find out what time the flight gonna land, what time it gonna land, what time it's due to ride, and you get there at the gate and you blend in. Flight arrives, people get off, and 3 or 4 of y'all trying to pick out who they're talking about, which was kind of hard. But as we was watching, and the flight, and the passengers get off the deplaning, and they start moving about, and you start trying to pick out who they're talking about from the description.
And all they told you was black, and then they said, "Oh no way, he's white."
Exactly.
That's all they told you for this guy.
As I remember. So a black guy did get off. And he just started walking, and maybe another black guy got off. And we couldn't figure out who it was. But we followed one guy, and he looked very professional. And another black guy looked, maybe him, because we couldn't figure out. And then there was a white guy get off, a lone white guy by himself, didn't have no bags. That's another key, didn't really have baggage. Maybe had a backpack or something. And we walking through the airport, and where we noticed was this white guy, a young white guy, was following a certain black guy. Everywhere the black guy go, you go downstairs, you see him following him. Black guy go in the bathroom. Oh, see, he go in there too, but we didn't go in there. He come back out, and you see, he seems like the black guy seems like he was trying to make sure nobody was watching him. But you can only do so much to keep your eye on him. But as he go back upstairs, the white guy go back upstairs. He looked like you're trying to lose him. So finally, Freddie said, "Man, stop there. Stop the black guy. Man, stop the black guy. He was cool. And nonchalant and everything good. So we'll hold on to him. So stop the white guy, young white guy. Stop the young white guy. Here you go." The shaking.
Start the nervous shaking.
Yeah, that nervous. We call it shaking jakies.
Shaking jakies.
Yeah, we DEA agents. We would like to have a time. Can we speak with you for a minute, Mom? And you got the shaking jakies, man. So something's up. The shaking jakies big time. Okay, take him to another room, and got the black guy, and he confesses that he paid me $1,000, to bring these. You search him and you find that he got it strapped to him, got the dope strapped to it, and he said the guy paid him to to bring the dope to Memphis and all this and all of that. And
the guy he was following paid him?
Yeah, the guy who was following paid him. Okay, so in the prosecution, we had the case. We told them what happened. We took a statement, told them what happened, told the prosecutor what happened. Because the white guy had never been to Memphis. But turned out, we got the white guy, we had the black guy, and we had both of them charged. And so we say, at least I said at the time to the prosecutor, I don't want to call his name right now, and the prosecutor wanted to get involved as an investigator. He wanted to talk to the white guy. But the prosecutor's white too. He wanted to talk to the white guy, what happened. And he said the same thing to him. And he said, well, if you testify against him, I'd drop the charges on him. I'd drop the charges on you, we'll charge the black guy. I said, no, you shouldn't do that. I said, this is what I think you should do. I think you should let that white guy plead guilty to what he did and then testify against the black guy. That was my thought. I said, that would only be right. But no, he just innocent. I said, bro, I should be honest with you. I said, if you're going to do it like this, because we went back and forth. I said, I don't want to have no part of this. I said, I can see what a jury would say. You let the guy go that you caught with the dope, but you want to charge the guy that you didn't catch with the dope. I said, please don't do it like that. But he insisted on doing it his way. I bagged out of the case. But I do remember the case went to trial. The black guy, I know his name. I can call it, but I won't. And I'll say his last name, Betts. That's all I'm going to say. His last name, Betts.
That's easy to find that out. But yeah, okay, cool.
He go to trial. Had a good lawyer. And the jury found him not guilty, even though the white guy testified. And they come out and they said, well, why did you find him not guilty? Well, y'all charged the guy that didn't have no dope and let the guy go who did have the dope. He said, if nothing else all, you should have been charging both of them because they had conspired together. It was a conspiracy. I never understood that. And it really pissed me off. Mm-hmm. It really pissed me off. I wouldn't have been testified for the black guy, but it just wasn't right. It just didn't sit right with me. Mm-hmm. And I must say, the justice was served in that particular case.
Mm-hmm. And so what happened to the other guy he got a deal. He didn't get in trouble.
He didn't get a deal. He got cut loose. Mm-hmm. He didn't get charged at all. The charges were he didn't charge him. All he wanted was a statement from him and to go forward. Now, if you was gullible enough to bring 2 kilos anywhere on your body, what you think should happen to you?
Yeah. You need a lesson. You need something.
Yeah, you need something. Yeah. You need something. But I kind of saw that in a lot of cases, particularly when some prosecutors, not all of them, and some prosecutors would be making these decisions about who to charge. Because as agents and investigators, we're not lawyers. We're just investigators, and we can only do so much. But you got to speak up when you know something ain't right, and that wasn't right. But the jury found the jury was served well in that case, I think. That was one of the other airport cases. The airport cases got to be interesting in a lot of time.
I bet. Well, I can't wait to hear more of them. And I love these cases, and I think there's a lot of people that also do love these cases. So, but yeah, we'll hear the next one the next time.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you for watching The GlaDEAtor. Tune in next week for another episode.